All right. Hey, everybody. So welcome to the Google session today. We have some incredible engineers from Google today. Akhil Ravindran, an ex-student of S30, SJSU student now in Google. And Devashish, again, SJSU, an ex-student of S30, is in Google. And Raman, we had a conversation with Raman last time also. She is going to join Google Canada, and the great thing is that she is getting into Google Canada all the way from India, and she has offers. She has already worked. She's already working at Apple, and now she is going to switch. She already had offers from Facebook also, and now she'll be going into Google. All right, we'll be keeping it very conversational. The first thing I would request Devashish, if you can share your experiences, share your learnings as far as the whole interview process is concerned. You have a lot of experience. You have been working with Oracle also. So in your journey, step by step from SJSU onwards, Oracle to Google, what worked and what didn't work? Just give us a short overview of the thing.
Sure, Jaspinder. So one correction, I am not currently working at Google. I have signed the offer and will be joining in July.
Got it.
So, yeah. So from my experience, so during my graduation at SJSU, I was searching for internships in the second semester. It was pretty difficult at that time. I was preparing on my own randomly. I was doing lead code and it was very difficult. So after that, when I was searching for jobs, I picked up very easy courses at that time during my master's and was just focusing on data structures and algorithms. And I got a structured way for preparing. So my basics. So taking a few more years back, I am from a private college in India and I did not study at all in my undergrad. So I did not know anything about coding when I came for my master's. So with data structures and algorithms, what happened was I used to ask very basic doubts in the class, and my basics became very clear. Everything with respect to complexities and which data structure has to be used. This became very clear during the interview preparation during my graduation. After that, Jasminder, you are on mute.
Yeah, sorry. So these were the classes that you were taking on S30. You are talking about your S30 cohort or some other
S30 classes which I was taking.
Right.
So that hit me a lot with my basic computer science skills also. Not just with like interviews, but with basic data structures also. So after that, it was COVID time, so it was very difficult to get a job at that time. So I got a job offer at Oracle, OCI. I picked it up. I'm working there since last 2 years. Then this January, I again started preparing for interviews. I got a call from Google, Microsoft, Amazon. I again started preparing. I prepared. So this time when I was preparing again, this time I did not do classes, but the basics which I had were very clear. So it took me like 2 to 3 weeks to get into flow again. And after 2 to 3 weeks, I was pretty again getting that confidence which I had 2 years back because the basics were very clear. So that helped me a lot. The S30 preparation which I did once, that helped me a lot. And then interviews, I was confident. I gave some mock interviews, so I was confident that whatever interview is, I won't be blank in the interview.
Got it.
So
yeah. So classes help, mock interviews help, but can you? What were the mistakes that you did in your interview preparation that you want to give a heads up to everybody who is sitting over here that, okay, please don't do this because, or you should be doing more of this?
So yeah, so more of this is, first thing is that I think the surroundings that you have, the people around you should also be very motivated with respect to job market, with respect to interviews, data structures. Uh, First thing is this. Second thing is uh, prepare in a very structured way. Just don't randomly run around and solve 100, 500 lead code problems. Go in a very structured way. Uh, Go topic by topic, and like we have different phases at S30, right? 4 phases we had. So first phase was a little simpler, then more difficult, and then after phase 2 we were very confident with whatever question they'll give, we were able to solve. So go in a structured way, and you have to work hard. Even if you join S30 and you don't work hard, you won't be able to clear the interviews. You So I think you have to give everything for 6 months or something.
Got it. Awesome. All right. So Akhil, what are the heads up? What are the mistakes that you did, or what are the good things that you did in your interview preparation?
Okay, so that specific question is what I'm expected to answer, right, Jaswinder?
Yes.
So, okay. So the mistake, I wouldn't say that's a mistake, but that's something that I do. So for me, in order to be completely confident, I went ahead and learned many things which are out of scope. Like I went for very like higher level algorithms and things like that, which when I look back, I feel that it may be kind of, it was a waste of time, but that had a proper reasoning because that was my first failure interview which I had during an Amazon internship like 3 years back, which forces me to do that. That time I got a question that everyone told is out of scope, and I got a question like that. So ever since that, whenever I go for an interview, I a little bit over prepare. So that is something I would have changed. When looking back in retrospect, I would have changed that. I could have done maybe focus that on mock interviews or something. And the good thing I did was I would definitely say the mock interviews I took, because for me, I was not completely out of touch. So I used to do things like code jam and some challenges and all in between just to keep myself. And it's not like I was forcing into problem solving. That's something that I like and I enjoy. So I used to do that in regular intervals. So I was not completely out of touch, but something that gave me confidence for the interview was the mock interviews. Actually, I think I went ahead and did kind of 20 mock interviews before giving the real interview. So that kind of really, like from various platforms, I just wanted confidence to feel that I knew that I know the data structure and algorithm part, my base. I think I had a confidence that it's okay, it's not bad. So I think that interviewing and knowledge of data structure algorithm, both are something that should go in hand. If you know to solve everything, but that interviewing skill is missing, still you can go bad in an interview. So that part, the mock interview part helped me. So that's something that I feel I did very right. Then other thing that I would say is having the base strong. Again, like S30 played a very good role in that. Like having the base strong definitely helps. Like if you are doing it after like maybe 2 years, if you are interviewing after 2 years. So as I told, I had worked with S30 as an interviewer as well. So at that time, I got to learn from a lot of people I interview, like how I should be giving an interview, what not to do in an interview, things like that. It was like maybe like I didn't take down notes or anything, but in back of my mind, I was learning all those things as a background process. So I feel like all those things have definitely helped me. And yeah, then doing mock interviews and the confidence I got from that. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Yep. As an interviewer, you learn a lot because you will be looking at people. What are the mistakes that these are the mistakes that I should not be doing. All right. Yes, Raman, you had a really great insights last time. You shared really great experiences. If you can just summarize, at the expense of even repeating, because we have new audience right now. So, what were the experiences like, or the heads up that you want to give to the students? Yeah, there is some issues with the audio. Okay, let me mute you and unmute you once more. Okay. right now, Raman? No, there is some audio issues. Don't worry, we can come back to you. All right. So one of the questions that I have in the thread in General Channel is, by what months should we be ready with DS algorithms to be hired for 2023 summer? You guys have gone through, both have gone through MS. So summer 2023, if you are going to go for the full time, then what's the right time to be prepared? What's the timeline prepared, and when you should start giving your full time interviews? All right, Devashish, yeah, Akhil, go ahead.
No, Jaspinder, Devashish can go on. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Devashish.
So for summer next year, right, 2023, I think by September, October, you should be ready, completely done with everything and ready, and start giving interviews. Like, this is my thinking. I don't know what's the correct answer for this question, but this is my thinking, that by September, October, you should be very good with data structures, and you will start getting interviews for companies like Amazon from October, November for the next year. So they give interviews pretty quickly, so you should be prepared by then.
Got it. Yep. So pretty much agree with that. That's what I tell my students also. By August, September, you should be ready, and by December, you should be having one offer, one FANG offer, so that you can start slaying it from January onwards. All right, this is the question that I have for you, Akhil. How did you keep yourself motivated? It was a long span of time, right? You have been preparing quite long. It was when you came to S30, I was really surprised that, okay, you were really prepared. I loved having you in class because you brought really great perspectives about the problems, and I was literally asking you to become an interviewer and subsequently an instructor at S30. So what happened with your preparation was, it's long span, it was consistent, it was everything that as an instructor I would be asking from a student. What kept you motivated even after scoring really great interviews? Still you kept going?
Yeah, so the answer for this, I think I can tie it up with the experience that I was saying before, one bad internship interview from Amazon. So as Devashish told, Devashish and me, we were roommates actually, like for people who don't know. So that time, all my roommates, they were from software engineering and computer science background, and I was from electronics background. So I didn't know what a data structure and algorithm is before coming to the US. So that's where I started off from. And after my first semester, I had a prerequisite course for data structure and algorithm. That's when I officially I learned a programming language. That's when I learned C++ for the first time. And after my first winter break, so I understood that I kind of like this problem solving thing. Okay, I am enjoying it a little bit, but I didn't know that much. So that time S30 was not there. I wish S30 was there. It would have made my life so much easier. But that time it was not there. And for us, that's something that we faced as a challenge, the structured thing. So that time I followed books like the Cracking the Coding interview and things like that. And I went through the basic chapters. Like I think kill trees were considered to be a good a good thing for internship during that time. People used to say you are good with arrays, linked list, maps, trees, and maybe for internships people may not go up till graphs. Till trees, if you are good, you'll be good. So I prepared myself with reference to all those books, and then as Devashish told, it was very hard time for the internship, especially because I'm from non-CS background and all those things. It was a really challenging time to get an internship. So no companies were returning our calls. Like we were not getting any interview calls. That was the main challenge. But there was companies like Amazon. I think Google and all would have stopped taking interns much before I started my preparation, I guess. This was after that. Only Amazon was giving interviews for interns. And they used to send to everyone who applies, they give the interview. So I got Amazon interview after the coding challenge. I got the on-site, which was a virtual on-site. And I went ahead and asked people who have done interviews, seniors and things like that. Everyone told me, okay, like if you are good till trees and stuff, okay, you are good. Amazon interview would be an easy one for you. And whoever gave the interview also, I was seeing that they were getting easy questions. Then I was like, okay, I can do this. This is the only interview I got, but I can get it. It's not that difficult. But I went into the interview and I got a question that like totally, I think after hearing that question, I couldn't hear the interviewer for 5 minutes. It was like a BFS with an added constraint and things like that. I may be able to do it now, but at that, it was on a high level, it was a flight routing chart algorithm or something that he was asking me. And so that day I understood that whatever people say, nothing is enough. Like you have to be prepared. You should always have to be prepared for the worst case. So that is when, that was the motivating like a fire, I can say, what I got. After that, I decided I'm going to now study everything in a way that next time I get some interview, whatever they ask, I'll clear it. So that was my motivation. Then I started rigorously preparing, even though I had the I think just before the during the internship time, actually I didn't prepare those 3 months, taking a break, but just I got internship in SAP pretty late. So until then I was like putting in really good effort and practicing everything and graphs and all. I had a good idea. That's why even after when I started S30, I joined a batch which was almost on the second leg, because like I had already done the basics because of this incident. That's why it was helpful for me. And of course I had to give put in my extra effort as well, because I joined a batch late. I had to catch up with the previous batch. If others were doing like 3 problems, I had to do 6 problems, so things like that. So yeah, the share of hard work is there. But yeah, to answer your question, my biggest motivation was that failed interview. That is what like motivated me always to go ahead and be fully prepared always. Yeah,
Amazing. That's amazing. Taking your failure on your chin and moving on. Love that. Love that attitude. Or Karthika, I'll take your question. Before that, I just want to go to Raman. If the audio is fine, then let's listen to her experiences. Raman, let's try one more time.
Yeah, I'm audible now.
Yes, you are awesomely audible. Go ahead, please.
Okay, fine. So, yeah, shall I talk about my experience or?
Yeah, experience or whatever you want to share. You were sharing amazing things last time, so I want everybody to listen this time as well.
Okay, so I am basically 2021 graduate from India itself. But before that, I did 2 internships while my graduation only. The first one was with S30, where I was an instructor, and then I even interviewed so many students. So I think being part of S30 was a really big part of, I mean, where I grew the most, I believe, because not only because of the hard work that me as an instructor was putting in, but also because while taking the interviews and while looking at so many students who are also kind of like preparing the way I was preparing at that time. So consciously we all prepare by putting in hard work and everything, but subconsciously being surrounded by such kind of people who are also preparing for the same thing that we do get prepared. Our brain, I believe that we do get prepared subconsciously as well when we are surrounded by such people. So that was a very big part, I believe, where I grew the most in terms of preparing for data structures and algorithms. But even after that, I continuously used to do DSA. I kind of like, I think that at max, I think I would have not done any question of DSA maybe for 2 weeks or 3, but not more than that. I used to do it continuously. Then I did my internship with JP Morgan Chase, which was just a summer internship. And then finally I had my last semester with Apple, which was 6 months internship, followed by my full-time job at Apple only. So all this was, other than that, I also had offers from other companies. So I believe that when you prepare, when you're consistent with your preparation, when you're disciplined with what you're doing, you actually start believing in your work. So first, before doing anything, you should have faith not in yourself, but also in the work that you have put in. So that comes, I think, I don't think that most of people get to, have that faith in their work. They all just start thinking that, okay, fine, we're doing, but we're not getting anything out of it. But I think, no, we all should have such kind of faith in the work that we're putting in, that yes, we are putting it with utmost honesty, and we do, put in that energy and work in our work preparing. So we also should have faith that one day, whenever opportunity will come, we'll be able to crack it. So yeah, so same thing happened with me. I cleared Google for the second time, and I had interviewed with Google last year as well. But I was not able to go, was not able to clear at that time because I think maybe as per the feedback, it was like I was not very good with hard level questions. Like maybe I was not able to perform up to the mark at that time. But then I continued preparing. I even had interviewed with other companies, which I was able to go through. And this year again, I think first a Meta recruiter connected with me that they want to interview me. It was for Meta UK basically. So I was able to go through it, so after that I again kind of like connected with recruiters of Google. So it was like random pinging on LinkedIn to Google recruiters that I do want to give one more try to this. And they get one of the recruiters get back to me, and then I had my interview scheduled and I was able to go through it. So this is about the preparation thing that, yeah, I believe that the consistency is very important. And other than that, I think you should also know how to take up the interviews. It is not only about having the knowledge and just giving the result. I think we all do that at S30. So it's not like we just prepare and we just tell them what we know. It is more of like how we are presenting it to them. There are some steps that we follow in the interview. We have to have that clarification question and everything. And I believe there are scores for each and every step that we have in the interview. So we must make sure that we're taking up all these things seriously and are actually being very calm. I think helps a lot to take things in a better way and to actually give the interview in a good way, I believe. So yeah,
Got
these
it.
are the things that I have in mind, I think, which helps a lot while taking the better.
Just can you expand upon, okay, what were the steps that you were taking? That okay, apparently yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I generally follow the same thing. Like first, I do make sure that even if it's very easy question, I try to have at least one or two clarifying questions. And if it's not possible, like it's very clear to me, I just try to reiterate the question so that the interviewer gets to know that yes, I understand the question well. And after that, I start off with a very basic approach that I can think of, because yeah, we do need to tell them we're not going right away to the optimized approach. We should have one, the thought process that yeah, we're going to optimize it from this level to the most optimized level, that whichever we can go to. So yeah, just start with brute force, and then if there is something which is not the most optimized, but yeah, better than the brute force, just go with it, and then finally go to the optimized one. Do not go to coding before before you make sure that the interviewer actually understands your solution, whichever you're putting up, and then ask the interviewer, just clarify that yeah, shall I code or whatever, and then just make sure that you're coding the exact solution which the interviewer wants you to solve. Not like maybe just do not solve whichever code you want. Like just if he wants you to code the most optimized one, just go for it. And even sometimes they even ask you to code the brute force. It happened with me. They wanted me to code the brute force approach first, then move on to the optimized approach. So I kind of like had 2 to 3 solutions all coded in the interview. So just make sure you ask the interviewer what he wants, and then after that do that bug fixing or error fixing, or then dry running the code with some few test cases, maybe 2 or 3, and then at last just go to the complexity. Just do not make sure that you are doing all this on your own. The interviewer is not asking you to tell the complexity. The interviewer is not asking you to go to the code or something like that. You all should be doing it all by yourself, and just ask like, okay, fine, shall I move to the next step, or shall I just start coding, or shall I talk about the complexities now? So yeah, this is how I can do it. Yeah.
Right. What kind of questions you guys got at Google? What were the favorite topics? Starting with Devashish, if you can. What were the kind of topics that you got at Google, or are there any favorite topics of Google?
I think one tricky question I got was something related. So they gave me some APIs. Okay, they gave me like some helper functions, and I had to use those helper functions to do something and give them the output. So like all my friends who gave Google interviews, they got something similar to these kinds of questions, which are not their own lead code. Like API, they give some functions. So these were interesting. Other than that, I got graph questions, and I don't remember the other one. Was a little tricky question. It was a hard level question. I don't remember the question now exactly, but yeah.
Well, any system design?
System design I did not get for Google. I got it for Amazon and Microsoft.
Got it. All right, Raman, what were the kind of topic? Akhil, I'll come to you. Just a moment.
For me with Google, it was like a mix of, I think because I have interviewed with Google 2 times, so I have a lot of questions from almost every topic that we have in DSA, it heaps, tries, DP, even DP plus graphs at that level also I had the question. Then I had from trees and simple heaps as well. And then tries, I think I mentioned that.
Yeah.
Then binary trees and all that was there. But other than that, there was one question which is very different from the general DSA question that we usually have. It was kind of like building a tree, but it was not like a simple tree. It was something like, let's say we have one node, and then if you want to add another node, you can only pick up one of the nodes that is already there. It's just going to be like a random pickup. So it's like you just pick up one of the nodes that is already there and just connect the second one to it. And after that, when you want to make a third node, then among the parent nodes that we're already having, that is 2 of them, you just pick up a random node and just connect the third node to it, and so on. So it was a little weird. I mean, the question is simple. I mean, if I'm able to explain it properly, but for the first 20 to 25 minutes, I was not able to get the question actually, like what it is actually expecting me to do with this. I was like, what is this? It's just like I have a node and I need to connect a child to it. So is it? I mean, I was thinking like maybe I'm not able to understand the question properly. I had so many questions. I don't know. I mean, I was a little afraid in that interview. So yeah, I had so many questions, and it took me about 20 to 25 minutes just to clarify the question, and then I move ahead with the further steps. But it went really well in the end. So yeah, so that's what I said. I mean, having clarification with the question actually is very important. So yeah, that was one different kind of question that I saw. Yeah.
Got it. Akhil?
Yeah, so I had kind of 6 coding rounds with Google. I had 2 level check interviews also. So in the
quick
first,
intervention. So don't give the exact question. Just give the techniques. Okay.
yeah, right. Yeah. So in the first section, I had like 2 graph questions, like topological sort and under graph, and none of these are direct. None of these are like direct wordings in lead code or anything like that. Like mostly it was, I think decoding the question was equally challenging, I would say, rather than solving the problem. That was the more challenging part. So the questions were in that way. So topological sort graph, then there was a sliding window question, then there was a DP question. So the DP question was more like a top down DP. So first like they expected a recursive one and then to implement DP, that kind of question. And then there was one round which which is the one was most challenging for me. So in that round, the interviewer basically started by just saying a sentence which has just 5 words, and the rest everything I had to uncover. So that interview was really a hard one for me. And yeah, so that I think that is
what was that? That the
so
problem
in the
statement
end,
was
if I say
just
what
one
the
line.
question was, it's very easy. Like what I had to solve is not a, I would consider it like between easy and medium question. But the way the question was asked and the way the interviewer wanted me to ask the question, and how how he connected it with the real life software engineering principles. So that was the hard part. Like, so how I had to decode that question. So that is one of the things I faced a little bit like challenging in the Google interviews, that the questions were always a little bit covered, and we had to take our own effort in bringing those out. And in the level check interviews, again, I had one Dijkstra question. So that was supposed to be a little bit hard, I guess. So one round, I heard that Google doesn't go that much to Dijkstra and all. They generally ask a lot of like BFS graphs just in general, but not much of Dijkstra is there. But that was a Dijkstra question. Means it was a normal BFS followed by a Dijkstra, and the follow-ups were to Dijkstra and then again follow-ups like that. And then there was one more interview, which was like very different from any interviews I have attended. Like if I say the problem, actually even a person in maybe high school can solve it. It's that easy to solve. But what they expected me to do in that interview was totally different. They wanted me to think how a software engineer would think, how you think from the user's perspective, like what all. So those were the focus areas. And even in that round, my follow-ups were also very different. So usually we have heard a lot about time constraints, right? Like they'll ask us, okay, now optimize on time. So I was asked to optimize on space. Like you can't use any space. So that was very challenging. I had to put in a lot of thinking into that. Like I would consider that as the most challenging round. Yeah, and that was like multiple follow-ups. I was luckily able to come up with like everything, and the interviewer was happy in the end. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Karthik, what's your question? You can unmute yourself and you can ask your question. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. Like, so I was came from the 3 years bachelor's degree, and I was applied to the Google earlier. So they were asked like DSA questions like. So I have very very less amount of knowledge on the DSA before applying to the Google. So I would like to know the how the interview things and how the things were happened. I have very little bit of the DSA knowledge on that. So I just did the all the things I got the all the interview process was like I got the lead code things and all. I did the brute force management and all. I did my first process of the interview, like first thing I did.
Yeah.
So
but what's your specific question? That okay?
I'm going with the brute force manner, but I'm not going
With the optimal one.
step. Yeah.
So how to get to the optimal ones very fast? What are the strategies? Is that your question?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Anybody who wants to take that? Okay. What are the best strategies to go from how to develop that thought process that you are able to go from brute force to optimal in a very fast manner, in a very swift manner? I'm looking at your faces and I love your smiling faces. All right. Anybody can take it.
I think I can take it. Like I also had a similar thing in the beginning, and Jaspinder had only told me about the same. So what happened that I used to, if let's say I used to pick up a question, initially I even used to suggest students as well that we should do this way. If let's say we find a question, we go to the brute force approach. Then to optimize it, we should be we should be struggling with it, maybe putting in a lot of effort for a lot of time. But then I think sir saw my comments on students' PRs, and then he suggested me, no, that this should not be the way, because this way you'll be wasting a lot of time and you'll not be able to go learn about many approaches. So he told me first, just get to see, just spend maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes initially, and just see the solution after that and try to understand the solution. This way you will get to see how other people or how the actual solutions are basically used to optimize the problem. Once you train your brain with so many questions and you know how different ways there are to optimize the problem, you'll automatically eventually you'll be able to basically optimize the problems easily. So this is with time, with consistency, of course, and by also looking at other solutions that are already there for the problems. So this I learned at that time and I followed this. I think this helped me a lot, to be honest. Yeah.
Got it. All right. Ram has a question for Devashish. Ram, go ahead.
Yeah, hi Devashish. Before you told some API test questions, I didn't get that. Can you please extend on that?
No.
So,
In your Google interview.
Devashish, just be careful that you are not giving the exact details of the question, okay? Because you have signed NDA.
They gave me
in
some
what way they
functions.
tested? Yeah.
So they gave me some functions. Okay, they were not running the code, so they gave me some functions. They gave me a problem statement. I had to use those functions and give the solution. So it's like whatever we do in real life, right? When we are working, we already have a helper utility packages within the team. So we'll be using that to come up with a different solution. So it was a very complicated problem. It was related to some DB queries, and I had some helper functions. So I had to use those functions to come up with the solution.
So it's a question based on web development. So
No,
is it
not
a
on
question?
not on web. So it was not APIs, it was help. So I had, like, they gave me that this function will do this thing. Okay, so I have to assume that I have to use that function and it will return me this thing. And whatever it is returning, I have to use that in my method, whatever solution I'm writing to come up with the solution.
All right. Just let me give you a hint. There is a very famous API problem on LeetCode, that is find celebrity, in which you are giving the API some input and the API throws out some other input. We'll be doing those questions now, the API questions. This is what Devashish is hinting towards. Still, it was not a web development question. It was still a data structures and algorithms, but use of API to get some output. Okay. I want to take Sujay's question. I'll come to your question, Jayant. We'll take your question as well. Sujay has a great question in the general channel that, okay, as a working professional, so when you were preparing, you were in MS at that time, you were attending classes at S30 and you were preparing, full force. But both of you guys were working, and Raman was also working in Apple. So all of you were working 9 to 5. So how did you manage to work as well as practice lead code? How did you balance between both the preparation and the work? How much time were you able to spend? Firstly, how much time you were able to spare after your work?
Okay, let me answer this. So how I used to do it, I think it's similar thing. It's just like one more activity that we need to add in a daily schedule. Like sometimes we do go for, let's say, exercising or something for an hour or so. So similarly, what I did was, I mean, obviously work should be our priority, whichever we are doing right now. I used to do the same. If there's a lot of work, I used to skip those days for preparation, to be honest. But after that, I used to have fixed time from 9 to 11 or sometimes to 12 if I'm able to do. So I used to fix that after 9, I'm not going to do anything else but just the TSA preparation that I need to do. I used to get done with my dinner and everything before 9, and I used to make sure that I'm doing it. And this is how I used to do in the weekdays. And I think sometimes I used to skip because I do believe that my work should be my first as it's my commitment. So this should be my first priority. And then at weekends, you have 2 days, like full complete 2 days. I think there's a lot of time. I mean, it's more about you figuring out that how you're going to do it. There's a lot of time. It's 24 hours a day. So yeah, so I was able to do it by fixing that weekday time from 9. After 9, it was just my DSA preparation, and then 2 days of weekend. So yeah, I think that helped me to prepare. Yeah.
Got it. All right. A lot of students are asking for system design. Google is not very high on system design. Guys, anybody of you guys had system design rounds? Akhil, you had?
I think there was option. My recruiter asked if I want, I can choose a system design, but I was more confident with coding, so I went with coding. There was an option to choose system design.
Yeah,
I think for level 4, that's what they're doing. It's not mandatory. I think only from L5 they have mandatory system.
got it. And anything other than DSA that they were looking for? Okay.
No, I felt in DSA itself, they test on different things, as Devashish told. Like even I had a question like that where you have to use like interfaces and stuff. So they test a little more on the DSA. It may not be the similar questions that you see on lead code. That's it. It's just how they ask the question and expect you to solve. Otherwise, it's DSA.
Got it. All right, Jayant, if you are there, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. Jayant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi everyone. So my question is, how did you guys prepare for Googliness, that interview? Because I had my interview last year, and it was just for 30 minutes of Googliness interview, and it was kind of a rapid fire. And in the answering all those questions, I came to that point when I was contradicting my own statements. So they twisted my response in such a way that I was contradicting my own statements or stories. So how did you guys prepare for that?
That's a great question.
I think I can answer that because I was having this. So the thing I was most scared on my interview day was the Googliness round, because I was I thought like coding is fine, I can do it, somehow we can discuss and solve it, but Googliness, how is it going to be? That was a challenge for me. But I think what helped was so in my previous work, whatever I have done, that definitely helps, but how I put that matters. Actually, how I structure it in a way that whatever, and it's not difficult to find the questions online. I mean, the common questions, Google is, I would say, Amazon has a lot of questions and they ask a lot of leadership things, but Google stays it's just a 45-minute round, that is Googliness round. So it would be pretty much the standard questions plus maybe a couple of follow-ups on that. So I think just make sure whatever you have done, don't add stories that are not there. That is very risky thing, because once people follow up or go in deeper into something, then you end up contradicting your own statement. So make sure you always stay within what you have done, and based on the questions that you see and the common questions, you can maybe tweak it in a little bit manner where you can make the interviewer happy. So that's what worked for me. I made like stories for the template questions.
Quick
Um,
intervention. So a lot of students are actually asking what is googliness. Devashish, if you can explain what is googliness to everybody.
So like Amazon has a round on their leadership principles. Google has a behavioral round. They call it like they'll be checking your googliness quality or some googliness, how googliness you print. I don't know, qualities you have.
Is
So
it how you prepare for leadership principles for Amazon? It's the same kind of thought process.
it's easier than Amazon. At least it was easier for me than Amazon principles, because in Amazon they kind of grill you. They keep on asking too many things around that leadership principles. Googliness was, so how I prepared was so with virtual interviews, good thing is I always have something on the back of my laptop. It had a doc with all the things that I have done and what to add with that, what keywords to use with when I'm telling that story. So I always have that doc whenever I'm giving interviews open with me. I prepared for Amazon leadership principles. So I had the whole, all the types of questions that can be asked. I don't know why Amazon does that, but Google was okay. It was not very difficult.
Got it. All right. Just a quick thing. At Aestheti, we have a workshop. We have a brilliant workshop on leadership principles, and there is a doc as well that you can prepare. That's a kind of the doc that Devashish had already also prepared. Have the bullet points. There is a workshop. It's pinned in each cohort's channel. All right, top of the channel. I want to take Osama's question. Osama, go ahead, please.
So my question was like not related to preparation, but like from the interview to like getting a reply, how long does it like normally take?
All right. Yeah. Raman, go ahead. You can take that question, please.
Actually, I was not able to listen to the questions. Can you please repeat once?
So the question that he asked is, it's not about the performance part of the DSAs, but when did you apply to Google, and what was the span of the total interview process, and when did you hear back? For example, you applied right now, how many months or days afterwards the recruiter reached out to you? Or if you were reaching out to the recruiter, then probably you can elaborate on that also. So what's the whole timeline of the interview?
Got it. Okay, so for me, I mean, I think it's very specific to everyone. So for me, it was like from January till May. Like I joined Google on 9th of May itself. So in January, in December end or till mid-January, I was trying to just connect with the recruiters, and around 12th of January, I still remember that my recruiter got back to me and he pegged me that, yeah, we can connect. But the connection, I mean, the meeting that I had with him was on 27th of January. And after that, it was up to me, like how much time I want to take for preparation and take the interviews. So I took 1 month's time, and then I took my interviews on 25th and 28th of February. And I got my result in May 1st week itself, March 1st week itself. So it didn't take much time. And then it was just like discussions and negotiations and, final offer letter. And then finally I received my offer letter in April 1st week itself. So yeah, so it's like the other part took much more time as compared to the interview thing and getting the results. It was more about discussing and finalizing the offers, I believe. Yeah, which took time indeed.
Got it. And Devashish, what was your timeline? When did you apply and when did you hear back?
So the recruiter reached out to me in December. So I told them that I want to join in July. So they asked me to get back to them in January. I reached out to them in January again. So it was scheduled for, I think, 16th of February, my interview. I gave the interview. I got the results on 24th of February. And for me, it was they have this hiring Etsy. So that was cleared for me. So after that, I went into the team matching phase. Team matching took around 2 weeks for me. So in that, what happens is you go into a common pool and hiring managers will be picking up based on your resume and your interviews. So I got picked up by 2 managers, and I think 2 weeks, and then I got the offer. I signed that after negotiations. I signed that by, I think, March end or something.
Got it. And same, Akhil, what about your time?
It was similar actually, just in the process remains similar. Yeah.
All right. Devashish and Raman have already touched upon the revision strategies. Devashish told that, okay, he had 2-3 weeks to revise all the concepts. But what was, and Raman has been preparing consistently. What was your, anybody had a different revision strategy or any points that you want to make for students? Akhil, starting with you, and any specific points for revision?
For revision, I actually found the question set S30 is very helpful, because the thing is, like, all the separate topic wise it's there, right? Like if you want to review your binary search concepts, okay, these are the 5 top questions which are of like different kinds of questions. You go through that, then you kind of understand, okay, this part you are good. And of course I went through other questions as well for reference, but I think when it came to the maybe last week, that S30 problem set actually helped me a lot. I kind of stuck with that. And more than number of questions, actually, as I told, I was focusing more on the mock interview things, because I felt I was out of touch in interviewing, but not that much out of touch in data structures. So that is what I focus more on. And in mock interviews, I made sure that, like, if I have seen that question somewhere, I tell them to get a new question which I haven't seen, so to get my confidence up. So things like that is what helped. And I gave kind of like 15 to 20 mock interviews. Yeah.
Got it. All right. Let me take more questions.
So Jaspinder, for me, revision, I have when I was preparing for S30, I reached out to you only. I created a question set, like the questions which I liked a lot at that time, and I had this thing clear in my mind that after 2 years, if I want to switch, what will happen? Will I do all the questions again, or should I should I select some of these questions which will revise all the questions? So if you want, I can share that list again.
Yes, absolutely. And now I remember, yeah, that was an amazing question set, and it was what. Let me elaborate on that. What Devashish did was that he took the questions in which your concepts have to come out, or the concepts have to come out at the basic level. Yes, Devashish, absolutely, you should be sharing it with everybody. That's a great question set. In fact, I took 10 questions out of that set, and I included in that in mock interviews.
Yeah, I'll share it in the channel, in the thread itself.
Got it. All right, let's continue with the questions. We still have 8 minutes. Do they take interviews again after team matching? Do they take interviews after team matching? I don't think so. No. How did you balance work? Already answered. Work preparation, they answered that, okay, we are going to have a specific time during the day. No system design, but because you guys have, I know for sure, it will be a shame that if I don't share this thing. Devashish has skilled at system design, because his recruiter called me up and he was like, Devashish is an amazing student as far as system design is concerned at Oracle. How did you prepare for system design at Oracle, and what were your experiences there, Devashish?
So at that time, I went through this online Gaurav Sain's videos and Tushar Roy's videos to understand, and then I had amazing flatmates at that time. And like here also, when I was preparing for Google, I had Arivoli. He's also an S30 student. XS30 he was my flatmate. So both of us used to discuss things, and back then also I used to discuss every problem, like software engineering problems, with my friends. So all the concepts started getting clear, how to design better things, like whenever you are going in elevators, how to design elevator, these kinds of discussions we used to have. So that's why I pointed that having good surroundings helped me a lot.
Yeah. So let me share interesting fact. All the students from Devashish batch who were classmates, SDSS students, S30 students, they came in a bunch. I still remember we were not trying to have a batch at that time, and Devashish came and he said that, okay, we are 7 or 8 people who are staying in the same flat or vicinity of it. Arivoli is also in Google now. So I don't think so anybody is outside fans now. Sudha is in Microsoft now. Sudha has made to Microsoft as well. So all of you guys, and there were a couple of more students also. Who were your friends?
Arihant is in Oracle itself.
Arihant is in Oracle. Got it. Yeah, all of you guys are doing good. Yeah, I totally emphasize on this point that okay, have your surroundings very. People should be ambitious around you. All right. Okay, let me go into the questions. Anybody wants to ask a question? Anybody has a question, specific question regarding Google, or I can take a different question? Yes, Ram, go ahead.
Yeah, as I don't have work experience, what are the factors that contribute in selecting my resume, at least for the first round?
Raman, you didn't have any experience. You are 21 graduate, and that to BTech. So how did you score so many interviews? Meta, Apple.
Yeah, actually, Google, though I was having 9 months experience, but it was considered as a fresher only. So I believe, I mean, it's not like the experience. If you have experience, you'll probably be getting interviewed for higher levels. Otherwise, I mean, like I got interviewed for L3 actually. So I think your experience is not going to matter, to be honest. It's just for the level that they are basically getting interviewed for. Other than that, it's fine. I mean, if you're not experienced, you just have those on-site rounds with DSA and no system design. They'll not be expecting you to have knowledge in web development and all these things, and they'll not be asking you any system design questions. So it's only going to be based on DSA, and yeah, that's it.
But what was your strategy for scoring the interviews?
Strategy was, I mean, as I already mentioned, it was more about just practicing, to be honest. I mean,
No, not strategy for getting the interviews. Like how did you get the interviews in the first place? Once you got the interviews,
Interview call.
How do you get an interview call?
Okay, the call. Okay, I got it. For me, luckily, it was very different. Like I mean, for Apple, it was just like a campus placement, and after that, there was. I mean, in India, it's like from hackathons we do get interviewed. So I had with other companies like Myntra, Flipkart, Walmart, and everything. It was through hackathons. But then for Facebook, it was like the recruiter itself. I mean, kind of like pinged me on LinkedIn. So maybe because of my experience with Apple, I believe that the recruiter, even he himself reached out to me and connected with me, and the interview was scheduled. And then for Google, I reached out with saying that I already have an offer with Facebook, and I do want to try with Google once. So yeah, this is how it happened for me.
Awesome.
What to do if we are not as blessed as Raman? Like, if we don't have any opportunity, then how should we approach to the recruiters initially?
Yeah. So I think Devashish, when you were not getting, especially Devashish and Akhil, they were in COVID batch, and if the things are difficult for you, then it was 10x difficult for these guys. Nobody was hiring at that time. So how did you reach out to the people, and how did you score your first interview calls with Oracle and Cisco?
So for me, I applied a lot at that time. I remember Akhil and everyone all of us used to just apply. Initially we used to just apply for some time. Then we started reaching out to people on LinkedIn. So for Oracle, I reached out to my manager, and I saw that he was hiring on some comments. So I reached out to him, and that's how I got the interview. But like after getting one good job, like after working for Oracle right now, all the 3 interviews that I got, Microsoft, Amazon, and Google, all the 3 were like the recruiters reached out to me with my experience. This happened. But I think work experience helps a little bit. But if you are proactive and reaching out to people, you will also get at least 3 to 5 interviews you will get. And if you are well prepared, out of 3 to 5, you will at least have one offer.
Yeah, and do it shamelessly. Okay, don't think that okay, I can send it to 10 people and they should be replying to me. The world owes me something. Don't think about that. Just keep networking with people. Keep reaching out to people shamelessly. Don't think about people that okay, I didn't get call from that. What is this kind of word? Don't think about all these things. Just reach out. Jai, you had a question? Go ahead.
Yes, yeah. So I am working as a SRE engineer for now. So can I apply as a software engineer position for Google or any other company, or do I have to apply for SRE positions only, basically?
Can you elaborate what is SRE for everybody's?
It's site reliability engineer. It's related to the cloud engineer, basically.
Right.
It's basically making automations in the cloud, like high availability or latency to keep the platform up and healthy, whatever we are using in the cloud. So the coding part, if I talk about, is like 40 to 50%, but it's not completely related to software engineer.
But how to switch? Yes. Go ahead, Raman.
Actually, currently I am hired for SRE in Google. So what I was told from a recruiter, it's the same process for SRE and SE, and I was having the option of either going to SRE teams or SGE teams. So I think in Google, there is no difference that you can, I mean, if you're an SRE, I mean, if you're an SRE, I think you can apply for SGE as well. It's the same process for both of these, and I think, yeah, it's fine. I mean, you can apply for any of these. It's not like a big deal.
Okay, so I am eligible, like for example, as a software engineer positions.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, Leela, go ahead.
Hi, Jaspinder. I have my cousin here. He would like to ask a question.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Hey, hi, Jaspinder. This is Sai. Actually, I really appreciate your work. My cousin talks a lot about you, and I mean the lessons that the experience he's from the classes. It's really good.
Thank you for the kind words, but let's stick to the question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm currently working with Infosys as a QA lead, test lead, and I have almost 15 years of experience. Okay. Right now, I'm interested to move into a role, technical role. But what are the options you see? Even I'm into management side also, but obviously, like my priority at this point is I need to move a career shift. I mean, to technical roles, or I'm looking to get into one of the FANG companies. So, what are the options that you suggest? I mean, I'm fine in role, or any suggestions you have?
Got it. So that's a question that I can specifically answer. But I'll get back to you after this talk, so that we are able to address that issue, because most of the students who are sitting over here they are either belonging to SD background or very related kind of backgrounds. But surely I will be falling back to you just after everybody else drops out. Then I can suggest you some strategies, because I am coming from a non-traditional background into SWE, if I am into SWE right now. All right, that kind of background, software background. I'll share my experiences with you, Sai, and we'll figure it out.
Definitely. Yeah.
All right, Ujita, go ahead.
So Ramanpreet mentioned that she chose a SRE role. What made you choose a SRE over SD at Google?
I think I just found it a little different, and I believe, I mean, I was thinking that it's the start of my career, so I can kind of like explore. I already know what is in SDE. So I just wanted to see what is there in SRE, so that I can see, I mean, the difference in the two, actually. To be honest, I just wanted to explore. This was the only reason for me to do SRE.
Got it. All right, awesome. That's a great session. I want to wrap it up. Any wrapping up comments by anybody? Akhil, if we have missed any of the things, if you want something to be highlighted to the students, I know all of you are not, just to share this thing, Akhil is coming from an electronics background and didn't have any fancy computer science background, and he has made it to Google. So any wrapping up comments that you want to, any wrapping up learnings that you want to give to the students?
Yeah, I would suggest like what worked for me, that thing, like put in a little bit extra hard work when you are a student, so that you can catch up on whatever you lack in your experience. And yeah, I think if you are with S30, that will be of great help for you attending the mock interviews and the regular classes, and just make it a habit, and then enjoy that thing, and make sure your base is strong. Then especially for interviews like Google, that will help, more than doing maybe 1,000 questions. If you do 250 questions and you really know the concepts well, I would go with the second one. So yeah, that would be my advice.
Awesome. Devashish?
Yeah, I think I completely agree with Akhil.
Firstly, my suggestion is have great roommates. Devashish had Akhil and Hari as the roommates. All of them are in Google right now. That is one of the learnings.
So I was not preparing for interviews also. Hari only had his H1 thing, so he started. So with him, I also started that okay with you. Then one thing which I would like to add is Akhil also touched up on it, but it never felt like we are working hard when we were doing data structures. We enjoyed it completely. Like even if getting up at 3 in the morning and we started studying, it never felt like we were putting in efforts. So we started enjoying it so much because we were understanding. And so I think that if you start getting that feeling, that will help a lot.
I still remember you guys had a separate room for whiteboard in your apartment, separate section.
We used to, Devashish had a whiteboard where we used to discuss problems.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yes. Go ahead, Raman, please.
Yeah, I think doing practice regularly is one thing, and the other thing is like enjoying, as Devashish has already mentioned, just enjoying what you're doing, and just always just be motivated and just look at how far you have come from the beginning, and just not look at how many things are left, how will you be able to do it. You will be able to do it if you're being consistent in that, and just be confident and just have faith in the work that you're putting in. So yeah, I think this helps a lot.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, guys. We are 5 minutes over, but I'm highly thankful for you guys to come to this platform and share your experiences. Anybody who has any questions further, they can ask the questions in the chat, and I will. Akhil, Devashish, Raman, are you active on Slack, or they should be reaching out to you on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I think LinkedIn is what I see more. Yeah.
All right, everybody can add them on LinkedIn. Just tell them that okay, you are an S30 student, and they will be happily. I hope everybody will be happily accepting the connect. All right, thank you so much, guys, and thank you everybody else for joining in. I can stay for Leela's question. Rest everybody can leave. Bye, guys. Have fun. Ciao.
Yeah. Jaspinder, can you ask Akhil and Raman to share their LinkedIn profiles? And
I will share. I'll share in the group. I won't let them do the extra work. I'll post in the general channel. All three of them.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Bye bye. Have fun.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you, Jaspinder. Bye bye. Thanks, everyone.